Penn State has the largest student-run philanthropy in the world. It's called THON, as in Dance Marathon. And students here, a lot of people, man. I mean, like thousands and thousands of people are involved in this. And it happens at the Bryce Jordan Center, the stadium, or the Coliseum, or I don't know what you call it, hall that we have. And our teams play basketball. Not necessarily very well, but they play. And they've had a tough year. Tough year, right, bro? Yeah. Next year, though, man. Yeah, there's always another year. Anyway, but students, they're dancers, and they are awake and on their feet for 46, used to be 48 hours, it's 46 hours. And then a whole team of people who support the process, and they raise millions of dollars. Last year, I don't know, we were up to about 13 or 14 million for children with cancer at the Hershey Medical Center. And it's cool, man. Lots and thousands upon thousands of kids have benefited. So it's really awesome. How many of you are involved in THON? Awesome, man. Is anybody dancing? Do you dancing? Hey, can you just dance or just stand up really fast? It's cool, man. Give a round of applause for your, that's cool. Good for you, man. That's cool. It's not easy to do, so that means on Tuesday in class, you'll still be a little bit delirious. But also, hey, last class, where is Sadhana here? Where's Sadhana, who has volunteered last class? Are you here? Dang. Wait, are you not here? I don't see you. Sadhana? All right, hang on. I'll say it in a couple weeks. I wanted to say something about majoring in sociology, so I'll let that go for a couple of weeks, or until whenever we get to it. So you're here, and we're here, and we talk about it. Okay, so look, let's do this. I try to kind of arrange things. Basically, here's what I want to say about sociology. I was kind of Sadhana and I were laughing about sociology as a major, and she's not going to make money or whatever, right? But I want to say that actually, I have a lot of former sociology students who make a ton of money, and I just want to say that first and foremost. But secondly, it's a really cool major. If you enjoy this class and the kind of ways that we're thinking about things and kind of drawing from lots of different fields of study and analyzing social life around us, that's sociology, man. That's what it is. So, wait, is that sadhana? No, it's not. All right. So anyway, that's sociology. So I want to promote it. I mean, I want to say, if you have any questions about Soc as a major, let me know. I shouldn't joke in the way that I did, because for me, I have 3 degrees in sociology, and I'm telling you, it has radically shifted the way I think about the world and the way I engage in the world. So I really highly recommend it. So anyway, all right, let's do, first go to the next slide. And so listen, gentlemen, right? Remember, you're going to be up at the end of class, so we're not going to have a lot of time, but you're going to lay out what each of you think or that you agree on together. So today in class, you can talk a little bit, right, during class, about the things that you've heard and that you're certain we're going to need to do or to address to fix our immigration policies. Because everybody's talking about we need to fix the policies. They're broken, we need to fix them. So, you're going to tell us what you think. And again, bullet point kind of things, right? Okay, good? All right, man. And thanks for sitting there like that, because it helps me to really imagine what we need to do. All right. Hey, while we're waiting, can you introduce yourself, and then Julie's fixing it now.
Hi, my name is David, and I am from the D.C. area.
The D.C. area?
Yep, so Northern Virginia, about an hour out of D.C.
Okay, awesome. I'm just calling this today, Students Solve the Immigration Problem, okay? And I don't know what the title ultimately will be, but that's kind of it. And so can you go to the next slide? So so if you remember back, what I've been saying is we talk about immigration, but we only look at a couple very tiny components of this. So you've been listening in class, right?
Yep.
Are you confused sufficiently?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, good, man. So I've done my job.
Yes, you have.
And today, so go to the next slide. We've done, we did all of these, but now we're going to add another one in. Next slide. And this is you, just responsibility, okay? So I want you to, we just want to hear, like you, think about what's on the Statue of Liberty, okay? Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. It's a poem by Ezra Lazarus, I think. And it's on the book, the scroll that she's holding, the statue. How should this, so my first question for you is, how should this play, give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free. How should that play in our immigration policy?
Well, I think it's important to remember that America, as it is now, fundamentally is a nation of immigrants. Really everyone here, unless you have Native American ancestry, wasn't originally from here. And I think that brings with it a sort of responsibility to continue to be a melting pot and a place that people come to make a better life.
Okay, a melting pot, but but how about in terms of people who need to come, let's say, people who really are struggling and
Well, there's more people that need to come or that are really struggling than we can reasonably take in. But there needs to be at least a potential pathway for people to come in.
Okay. So how do you think about that yourself, though, just for you? Okay, so you, how do you think, I need to make sure that I have enough, that my family has enough, if I have children, they have enough, people around me, et cetera, that I have a job, I can buy a house, whatever it is, right? I have the resources I
American
need.
dream. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think about that yourself?
I think that I am fortunate enough that I, as well as many of you that are here, will be able to have enough.
When you say you're fortunate enough, what do you mean by that?
I come from a background where I don't have to worry about college debts, and I've been given opportunities to succeed. And
how about, okay, and then let me ask you this question. When you look out at this room, right, and so about 20% of the people in the room are international students, but when you think about how wealthy people are, and you're just going to do a generalization here of people, what do you see? How wealthy are they compared to the rest of the world?
I bet that most people in this room are in the top 10 or 20% of wealth globally.
Globally?
Yeah.
Which means that they're a lot like you.
Yes.
Huh.
Now, of course, that's not true for everyone, but generally.
Yeah. How many do you think are in the top 1% of global wealth?
20% of the class.
20%?
Of global wealth, not necessarily American wealth.
Yeah. Global wealth. So they're in the top 20, and you are for sure. How many? So in the top 1%, you would say.
Yep.
Here, are you all thinking about that for yourself? So before we go on, right? Just think for yourself. What do you imagine? Where are you? Where do you fit? Think about, we always talk about the richest, the 1%, right? So where are we? How do we think about it? And then we want to think about the role it plays, right? Should it play a role? How's it play a role? Here, go to the next slide. So let me show you this. Let me see if I can explain. So this is 2020. It hasn't changed very much, okay? So on the left are percentage of adults. So we're not looking at kids, just adults, okay? In the world. This is the entire world, okay? The top 1% are people who are adults who are millionaires. in terms of their assets. So that means, you have all your assets, which is money and major assets, like your house, vacation home, whatever that would be, minus your debt, your liabilities. Okay, so that's important because, somebody here, this guy right here might live in an $800,000 house with his parents, but his parents still owe the bank $500,000. So that means $300,000 that goes into your wealth or your parents' wealth. Okay? Now, if you look at that, millionaires, and then look at middle class, is $100,000 in wealth to $1 million. Okay, that's 11%. So if you go to 12%, now what percentage of class is in the top 12%? What would you guess?
I bet at least 40% of the class is in that. I mean, a net worth of $100,000.
They're talking about their parents here.
Or yes, the families of the people in this class. I bet 40% of them have a net worth of $100,000 or more.
Anyone disagree with that? Dude, what do you think it is?
I'd say probably closer to like 80, 90%.
Yeah. Anybody else? You think that? Yeah. Anybody else have a guess? Anyone want to make a guess? You want to make a guess? What do you think? Do you have a guess? Bro, you have a guess? Because I'm going to say it's about 98% if I had to guess. Yeah. And I would say, so what percentage is in the top 1%?
Of that 98%?
No, yeah, just of the class. What percentage?
Man, I'll up my estimate. Let's say 30% then.
It's high. I would say probably if I look at your parents. If it's not your parents now, it's the parents in a short period of time. Mm-hmm. But I would say it's probably 3/4 if I had to guess.
Are in the 1%?
Yeah,
okay.
Definitely. Here. This is a different world, man. It wasn't true in the past. And if you're not in the 1%, you're destined to be in the 1%. And people in here, you and other people, definitely 3/4 of you are destined, you will be in the 1%. You're at Penn State getting a degree.
An expensive degree.
Yeah, even a sociology degree. It doesn't matter. 3/4 easily. What do you think? Now think about that. Think about that in immigration policy, and think about these people right here.
I mean, you said 20% of this class are people not from the U.S.?
Yeah. And you can assume they're all pretty wealthy.
Yeah. So I think I can make the assumption that if you're more well off, it's much easier to come to the U.S. I don't think that's a difficult leap to make.
Yeah. Here's something else I want you to focus on. See the chart on the right? Mm-hmm. So you had the blue and the green together. Okay? So you got 85%. All right? Now, if we say, let me do an experiment with you, okay? So let's go with 12%. So there's 700 people in here. So 12%, so now we got to go, So if there's 100, for every 100 people, it's 12. So we got to multiply 12 times 7. So that's going to be more or less this entire section here minus the back row, okay? This entire section here minus the back row. And who these people are? Wait, can you all just stand up really fast? I just wanted to see that. You guys just stand up and look at the rest of the class, okay? I want you to see it. Okay? So you guys, you all, whatever you think, 85% is how the world's resources, bro. The world's resources, okay? Wealth. If this is the world right here, you guys control you. This is the number of people who control 85% of all the wealth. And all of these people out here, everybody else, all of you, you control 15%. 15%. All of you. Like, so, okay, bro, here, you can sit down now. Thank you, y'all. What do you think of that?
It's crazy to see it visualized that way. because it just, there's so little that the bottom 90% actually have comparatively.
Yeah. Dude, here, how about this? You ready? 55% of the planet, 55% of the planet controls 1% of the wealth. So 55% of you all, right? If this is the planet here, 55%, which is like this entire bottom section is 55% of this classroom, okay? Can we get that on one of the side cameras? This is really important. You ready, bro? 55%. If this classroom is the world, the bottom section of this room controls 1% of all of the wealth in this room. Damn, man. Like, dude, bro, you feeling rich? You feeling pretty good? Like, you feeling rich? You feeling rich? Feeling wealthy? It's like, damn. 55% of the world, y'all, right? Like, and you're thinking, like, oh, God, you think about it, bro. Think of all the times when you're like, oh, man, I don't have enough, or I'm not going to have enough, or whatever. Imagine being one of these people.
I mean, when you think about it that way, it's pretty unfair.
I don't know. Is it unfair? That's not for me to decide. That's for you to decide. That's for you all to do you think it's unfair?
Yeah. Because I don't think that we pride ourselves as Americans in a capitalist system as being a meritocracy. That people who work the hardest and who are the smartest are the ones that are going to do well.
Okay.
And what that statistic tells me is that that's at the very best only partially true.
Okay.
Just because the bottom 55% that owns that 1% of the wealth isn't going to have the same opportunities that you or me or anyone else in this room necessarily has.
Yeah. And now, we pride ourselves here in the U.S. about, well, this is the land of opportunities, and if you work hard, you'll succeed and all of that, right? But now we're talking about the world, but as a nation, we're talking, dude, I got a story for you. So I was in Haiti, and we were driving on just one of the main roads in Haiti, and I had to stop and get my cell phone fixed. And we stopped, and there was this kid sitting on a tire on the side of the road. It's not a paved road. It's a mud road. You know, it's cars going, dusty, everything. And he's sitting on a tire, and we stop. And I give him my phone. It's cracked. And this kid pulls out, he's about 7 years old. Bro, 7 years old. This kid, he's sitting there, pulls out these tools. They were not Apple tools. They were just tools. He pulls them out, takes my phone apart, gets a screen, puts it on, does whatever he does.
7-year-old?
Dude, 7 years old. Maybe he was 8. I don't know. It's hard to say. Gives it back to me. And I'm like, if that kid lived in State College, if that kid lived in if he had gone to high school, if he had the opportunity to go to your high school, where would he be in 30 years?
Oh, not in Haiti, I'll tell you that.
Not fixing cell phones on the side of the road?
On a tire? Yeah, no.
You know where he is, though?
Where?
Right where he was. I mean,
right.
He's in Haiti. He's not, things got even worse. So he's right where he was. He's probably still fixing cell phones. And So now think about immigration, right? So you think this is just this issue of humanitarianism, responsibility. Are you a Christian?
No.
What are you?
I'm not religiously affiliated.
Okay, well, think about everyone think about God, right? What would God say? What's God say?
He wouldn't be pleased. She wouldn't be pleased.
Yeah. Well, maybe she would. Maybe it's okay.
I would hope not.
I don't know. Maybe so. I don't know, right? Like, this is the question. This is what I'm trying to do in here, get you all to think. Like, first off, most of you are rich, man. When you talk about wealthy people, at least half of you are in the 1%. So it's like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feels pretty good. Yeah. If it doesn't feel good, you just need to turn your attention elsewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it really does, not to go back to this, but it speaks to the opportunity we all have.
Some more than
and
others, but you
yes, but we're all here getting an education.
Yeah.
And it speaks to what people like that kid in Haiti could do
Yeah.
if given the chance to come here.
Yeah. Sure. Absolutely, man. And it speaks to how many things that happened to me that I didn't do. They just happened to me, and they happened to you because
Yeah.
you're here, right? And how about this? How about remittances? You know, all these people that migrate, including people who are undocumented,
And they send money back.
they send money back. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's a positive for
Look
those
at that.
families.
Look at the 1%, right?
Yep.
We look at that.
I,
Look at the 1 and 14%. So 15% is like 90% of the world's, almost 90% of the world is controlling 15%, right?
Right.
So think about that and think about remittances back home.
I mean, I think it speaks to how much of an opportunity
Yep.
immigration is,
Yep.
because people that were, dirt poor
Yeah.
are able to not only improve our economy, but they're able to help elevate their families and their home countries in the process.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe even not dirt poor, maybe just something.
Somewhat poor.
But the idea is, dude, we are a land. We are the United States. We're a lot of things, but we're also humanitarian. Like you can't just we throughout history we sometimes do some really bad things, but sometimes we look at suffering and we fix it. So it's like, okay, the remittances are good. Send money back home.
Absolutely.
It's not like foreign aid that we have to spend. It's foreign policy. In a way, right? Yeah. All right, man. That's it, really.
All right.
It's cool, though, right? To
Oh, absolutely.
shift your thinking like that.
And seeing it visually is
Yeah.
interesting, both in the graph and in the class.
Yeah. No, this changes my world. From when I started traveling to in places where there was considerably more poverty, it just shifted my thinking
Yeah.
tremendously. And this is the thing. Like here in the U.S., we get in this dialogue about, white privilege and like white privilege in the U.S., right? Okay, yeah, sure, white people control a greater percentage of the wealth in this country, but if you're here, if you're here and you're in this classroom, you're probably doing quite well, man. Don't just be looking at somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, dog. Thanks,
All right.
man. Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks. All right. All right, man, let's go.
Hello.
Introduce thyself.
My name is Sebastian. I'm from Queens, New York.
Queens, New York. Hey, what'd you think about that, by the way?
About like the wealth.
Yeah, what we talked about.
Yeah, it was crazy. I had never seen it visualized like that. I thought it was really cool. Not cool. Sad.
Well, it is what it is,
Yeah.
right? What do you think my reasoning is to show that and talk about that?
I think it's a really good way to show like both everybody in the class and like everybody watching like what your real position is in the world as like compared to everyone else and like the wealth that everybody else has globally.
Yeah. It's like you think better.
Yeah,
If you understand, the more you understand, the better you can think.
for sure.
And it doesn't mean become a liberal, like, oh my God, we have to help everybody out. It's not that at all. It's just don't be dumb. You know what I mean? Like, don't be dumb. And like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to be smarter. Every day you want to be smarter. So it's like, yeah, man, understand your position. All right, bro, you ready? So I want to talk about the inequality that we just discussed, all right? So how do you think the world got so unequal? What's your gut? Wait, are you part Colombian? What's your background?
Yeah, I'm mostly Colombian, and then I have a Cuban side of my family too.
Oh, dude, so you're perfect for this conversation, right? You have a dog in this fight, as we say.
For sure.
All right, okay. How do you think the world got so unequal?
imperial expansion throughout history.
Just that?
Well, that's a lot of it for sure. Starting from a place of like people with money and power went to other places who didn't have the same amount of power.
Okay.
And took stuff or like basically like took stuff, underdeveloped, exploited, things like that, and we are where we are.
You use their power.
Exactly, yeah.
To like I call it like it's like the King of the Mountain game. You use the word imperialism, by the way. Dude, just forget that he said that, because you're going to immediately label this guy as a leftist and so on. But like, whatever. I see it as almost like King of the Mountain. Did you ever play that when you were young?
Like King of the Hill?
King of the Hill?
Like knock the guy off the middle?
Yeah, you got like, so here, just step up here, right, really
Stand.
fast. Yeah, just stand right there, right? You could, don't fall. My God. Okay, so you're on. No, you can stand. Dude, all the way. You got it. All right, so listen, the way the King of the Hill works, or King of the Mountain, is he's got leverage on. He got up the top of the mountain. So how'd you get up? Why do you think you got up there and I didn't get up there?
I climbed first.
You climbed first.
Yeah.
Maybe you got lucky. Yeah. Maybe where I tried to climb the mountain, it wasn't really easy for me to climb, but you just happened to climb this mountain in a space that you had more resources. You had better luck, and there you are. Maybe he's faster. Maybe he's smarter. Maybe you're stronger. You're smarter. You were saying, like, you sat back and you're like, hey, Sam and I are gonna compete to get onto this table, but I'm thinking ahead of time. I'm gonna beat that dude. I'm gonna climb this way, and I'll get up first. And I didn't think of that, and so you're smarter than me. You're stronger than me, or whatever. Or maybe you just got lucky. Maybe just whatever. Okay? Yeah. There are lots of reasons. So, all right, here, have a seat. So that's the imperialism thing. When you use a word like imperialism, right, it's like, no, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But you said that. Sometimes, you just get.
I guess I just meant like, well, I meant that, but I also meant as in like just might makes right. Like, you start from wherever you start from. If
you're the first one to develop a weapon and like, yeah, man, you can use that. So here, let me show you. So think about just immigration in Latin America, okay? Hey, by the way, what's your worldview of what progress looks like? What's progress to you?
In what sense?
Economic and social and political.
I guess improving and like expanding the quality of like the material conditions that people live in.
Okay.
Improving their quality of life and like standard of living.
Okay, cool. And we all know if we go back to that graph about how the wealthy, the 1%, and I talk about all these people in here, y'all got lucky.
Yeah.
You got lucky. You weren't born in a lot of other places. You were born here. You weren't born in rural West Virginia, where if you were born in rural West Virginia, bro, you'd probably be in rural West Virginia. Maybe you go to community college or something, but whatever. Depends on a lot of things. Okay, can you go to the next slide, by the way? Yeah, hold it there. Listen, how do you think about immigration that's fueled by actions that the receiving country, meaning like in this case the United States, immigration, people coming here because of actions that we took as a nation, things that we've done?
Yeah, it's something I think about like often, and in my mind, it's like the main source of immigration, the main cause of immigration. I think like to begin with, I don't think anyone wants to leave the place they were born and would much rather like make it a better place. Yeah. But I think whatever external factors push them to go somewhere else.
Why do you think people want to stay where they're born?
Familiarity, nostalgia, family ties, just things like that. You feel connected to the place you were born. I do. Yeah.
Listen, man, everyone in this class, those of you who are thinking, I want to go live in another country. Okay, preface it with this. You don't know when you'll see your family again. Might be 5 years, might be 10 years, might be 20 years. You may never see them again. You don't know what's going to happen in that other country. How many of you want to go and live in another country then? How does that change your mind? Because that's what historically we're talking about, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, can you go to the next slide? Do you know what? Oh wait, can you go? This is like, I just put this up here. 50 years of U.S. intervention in Latin America and the Caribbean. This is kind of some of what you were talking about.
Definitely. This is exactly what I was talking about.
And the people who don't know anything about this right here, what do you want to say? The people in the class here who don't know anything about this is just U.S. intervention. Like, what do you want to say? What would you say? And be the mildest you can. Be like, imagine you don't want them to think that you're just a radical who's really dumb.
Yeah.
So you want to say it in a way that people will really hear you. Okay?
I love America, and as an American, I recognize like all of the things my country has done throughout history that have had a negative effect on the world. And one of those things, many of those things, has been meddling and intervention for American interests, which may have benefited us, the domestic population of the United States, but disastrously disaffected millions and millions of people throughout history. And a lot of that is like something that is still affecting us to this day, and it's a reason why the U.S. looks like what it looks like right now.
And you benefit, right? You've
Correct.
benefited from that.
A lot.
As someone who has family from Colombia and Cuba.
Exactly.
Like, they came here to benefit
Yeah.
from the Yankee imperialism around other places, right? And you, okay, and you, and that's okay though, right? Like, I mean, it is what it is. What would you say to people that say, well, if we didn't do that, some other country would have done it? Like, if we didn't go and mess in Latin America and involve ourselves and take resources and install authoritarian governments and dictatorships and overthrow countries and send our military down there to make sure that people did what they wanted to do, to make sure that when we wanted land in Ecuador or Costa Rica or Brazil, the government, our corporations, the government would make sure, or we wanted access to the mines in Bolivia, the tin mines, the government of Bolivia would give us access to the tin mines. Like, what do you say to people who say, yeah, well, if we didn't do that, somebody else would?
I don't think that's true. I think I think a person who would say that would probably say like the USSR or like a communist influence in Latin America would have done the same thing, but I just don't think that's true. I think most of what the American State Department and government did throughout this period was just sabotage the political movements of the majority of these countries that were fighting for equal rights for women, minorities, indigenous people, and the rights of workers to own their means of
How about
production.
the rights of their businesses to compete fairly on the international market?
Correct.
How about, can you go to the next slide? Do you know what that, you remember seeing those photos?
Yeah, I remember.
So the problem is when people see this happened in the Biden administration. This
Right.
is one of the things that tanked Biden's presidency. People see that and they're like, oh, damn, man, we can't have that. But those 7,000 people, who are they?
They're mostly Venezuelan migrants who left their country because, as the Biden administration wanted to do, quote unquote, according to some senator, I forget what it is, strangle their economy,
Yeah.
right? To make them suffer so that the Venezuelan government would change or do something, do policy that was more beneficial for the United States than for Venezuela.
So now these guys show up. This is right on the border of Mexico. Tapachula is right on the border of Guatemala and Mexico. And so they came, thousands of people came up, and they're now at the border of the U.S. What do you do? What do you do with them? Gentlemen, are you ready? What do you do with these folks? What do you do? Mr. Humanitarian guy?
Yeah. I mean, with them specifically, I mean, you started from square one where you already messed up. You made this happen, so.
Okay, but do you let these 7,000, you want to know why so many of them are there?
Asylum.
No, because there were other caravans before them. And the other caravans, Biden had a policy that said, hey, we got to let these people apply to be refugees.
Yeah.
So these people back home are like getting text messages, oh, damn, we're filling out paperwork to be refugees. So then they come. Okay, so now what do you do with these guys?
I mean, from the point of view as like the person who turned on the faucet,
Yeah.
you kind of just got to let the water run.
Yeah,
right?
until how long, dude? Another 70,000, 700,000?
Yeah.
Like how far?
I don't know. Until you feel like you left the water on long enough.
Yeah. See, this is where you get stuck.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is where the pragmatists come in with somebody like you and be like, nah, man, there's no solution. Like we can't, like da-da-da-da, right? So you don't have to have a solution. You can just say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's tough.
It's tough.
Yes.
I guess I was just a little bit confused with the picture because this is 2018, so that's earlier than Biden's administration, and these are Central American migrants, not Venezuelan ones. So
These are Central American. Yeah, these are not. I was gonna check it.
Sorry.
These are mostly not Venezuelan migrants. These are from Guatemala. These guys, Honduras, other places in South America. But yeah, mostly not.
So I guess connecting to that, do you think that there would be less migrants if the U.S. did not intervene so aggressively during the Cold War?
I think that if we didn't, I think probably you got to imagine that we created an economic system where other countries around us, especially in Latin America, were able to compete freely on the free market. Everything that you all are learning about in the Sam의 Business School, by the way, free market capitalism, I'm sure if we created a system of free market capitalism, these people wouldn't be walking across Mexico to come to the U.S. Yeah. But the problem is we don't know that because we don't study it. I happen to study it because I was a Latin Americanist. So I'm like, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. If you don't think about it and you only see the border or you only see new immigrants in your community, you wouldn't understand what the root causes are at all. And you would just say, oh, a bunch of people just showed up.
Yeah. If you don't see what the root causes are, you can't fix the problem. That's part of the issue. Here, how about this one, man? Go to the next slide. No, go forward. Yeah. So listen, man. We send let's say we send $50 million to Sudan to combat famine, right? Where's the $50 million go?
I'm so glad you're asking this. This is all I study. It goes directly to...
You know what? Yeah, I messed this up. So you can blacken the screen and just let him try to answer this question. So we're going to send $50 million to Sudan to help fight. Listen, you ready? The United States. Let me just point out why this is important. You hear about us giving foreign aid away, giving money to other countries. We're always giving money to other countries, and we should spend it at home. Right? Why are we giving money to those people? We should spend it here. We have problems here. We have to fix our bridges. We have people who are hungry here. Man, why are we sending money somewhere else? Right? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? Spend it here, right? Okay? So, bro, where's the money go?
Where does the money go?
Yeah, the $50 million.
The $50 million turns into material goods that we give as aid, which undercut the domestic economies of those countries. And so they become dependent on us because they can buy those goods that we deliver at a market for a cheaper price than they would the goods that are
okay,
in
but
their own
hang
country.
on. I got you. Okay, how about just grain? We send $50 million. We spend $50 million to send grain.
Mm-hmm.
Where does the $50 million go?
It goes to American farmers and American businesses to make the grain.
Okay.
And then on an American ship to go to a American logistics company and just stimulates an entire economy to deliver the the grain.
You get it to the dock workers. You ship it over there. You arrive. There's American companies that are logistics companies that are doing it. And then at some point in time, you can go put it up there. And then at some point in time, the Sudanese get the grain.
Right.
And then it gets transported by Sudanese companies. But it's like, but $50 million when a good 45 million of it is going to get spent right here. So when you think about that, right, that's kind of a significant shift.
Yeah, for
You know
sure.
what I mean? It's just I don't know. It's just a way to think about it.
Yeah.
Everything is complicated. Nothing is as it seems.
It like kind of makes it seem like foreign aid helps the United States more than it helps the other countries.
Yeah. Like when people, you say like, oh, we just gave, $500 million of aid to Israel. It's like, that's $500 million that got spent here in the United States and given to Israel. Those of you who are anti-Israel, who are critiquing that aid, for example, or military aid to Pakistan or whatever. It's here, and then we send it over there on our ships. Taxpayers pay for it all. You get it? But taxpayers pay other American companies, other American citizens, people here. The money's going back into the pockets of people here. You see, that's really, really important. It's just not something that we think about. That's why sociology, by the way, that's why it's cool, right?
For sure. It's good to think about, I don't know, the things that feel surface level. Like, you hear all these things on the news. It's like, oh, we're giving foreign aid. Oh, there's a refugee crisis. Oh, there's destabilization or a civil war or something. And it's like, if you really look at the money flows, a lot of it incriminates my country.
Well, that's how half the people in this class can be part of the richest 1% of the global population. More than half, right? So, dude, all right. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yeah. All right.
Do you think people's problem with foreign aid outside of like the Sudan example, but maybe for Israel or for Ukraine or for Pakistan, do you think the problem there is that, especially with our last example with David up there, that the money's going back into Americans' pockets, but the wealthy Americans, especially with the military-industrial complex, is that a problem?
Well, maybe it disproportionately goes to certain people in the United States, for sure. No question about that. But, it's still coming back here. It's still coming back into the economy. The economy is the economy, the GDP. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you could question that. You could make that argument. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you could break it down further, for sure. That's a good. All right. Let's introduce thyself, por favor.
My name is Paige, and I'm from New Jersey.
Where in New Jersey?
Like by the shore, Homedale.
Oh, yeah, Homedale? I know Homedale. All right. Okay, listen. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, I want to talk about political considerations with you. Some political things. Okay? And, this is a really tough thing. So this is the last one. It's the one on the bottom right, the last circle. And this is a tough one, because basically immigration, so we're going to solve, the last one we just got caught up in all this stuff that's bigger. It's bigger than we imagine. So now it's even bigger because now it's a political football. And, people's careers are built on immigration solving it this way or solving it this way. And so they're going to fight, man. We're just going to fight. And it's going to be really hard to come to agreements about different things, right? All right. So can you go to the next slide? Wait, go back. Hang on. Shoot, hold on. Can you go to this one right there? You'll see it. Okay. Actually, you know what? Actually, just hold off. We're gonna keep it the way it was. When you think about people migrating in the world, how many people there's 8 billion people in the world. How many people you think want to migrate permanently?
I guess like millions. I don't know how many millions, but
Millions?
yeah.
Like how many? Like what's your gut? When you think about the US, think about people who like just want to come here or people want to go elsewhere. What are you thinking?
I don't know, like 7 million or something, I guess.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think the primary motivation is for people who are migrating?
Like corrupt governments from where they're from. Just looking for a better life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Improve things, improve the resources.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you go to the next slide then? We're going to keep it right where it was. So in 2020, so Gallup does this thing every several years where they interview tens of thousands of people around the world about whether they would leave their country permanently. And that's 900 million people. So that's about 16% of adults worldwide say that, hey, we would get up and we would leave our country if we could. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's more than you
a
expected.
lot more people, yeah.
Yeah. What's it lead you to think about this immigration issue? Like, what's it lead you to think? Like, it's big. Like, is it bigger than
I feel
you
like
thought?
it's going to be something that's going to be a problem for a really long time.
Yeah. It's going to keep growing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because especially as climate starts to shift even more. 900 million people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's not going to just suddenly change. Where do you think they want to go? What percentage of the 900 million in the world, this is all over the world, what percentage want to, including people in the U.S. who want to migrate somewhere else? Like go to Scandinavia, because, life rocks in Scandinavia. What percentage want to come to the United States, according to the poll?
Maybe like 80% of that number.
How many?
80%?
80?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how do you get to that?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people want to migrate to the United States. It's a really good place for opportunity.
Yep.
And yeah.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to say. You are wrong, right? You're very wrong. But your answer, I'm sorry I started with that. Your answer is the answer that most Americans would give, okay? So that's the answer. Most people want to come to the U.S.
Yeah.
The number's really high, it's above 60 or 70%. Most people would say that when we ask them, that's what they say. And so you're with everybody else, okay, right? But you're wrong, and you're wrong. Okay, so go to the next slide. So the most desirable is the U.S. 18% of all those 900 million people are saying, yeah, we'd go to the U.S. I mean, that's in large part because so many are in Latin America, right? Yeah. And they can easily come up here, but some want to go to Canada and okay, there's your other countries and your other destinations. So what that says is Spain is so Germany is 5%, Australia is 5%. I just wanted to fit them onto the slide.
Yeah.
Spain, France, and UK each claim 4% of all those people want to go there. So look at Saudi Arabia, Japan, other destinations. So what do you think about that?
I wasn't expecting that, and I mean, I don't know. What are the other destinations? Just any random?
Yeah, I'll call it Turkey, Egypt, South Africa. You want to go from Botswana to South Africa. I mean, there are all sorts of places that people want to go. They want to go from Brazil to Paraguay. They want to go from Guatemala to Mexico. They want to go from Spain to Portugal. Maybe not Spain to Portugal. Yeah, Spain. That was a joke, by the way. All right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see that it's 18%, but we have such an insane immigration problem, and it's just.
And a lot of
people, you don't really see that. I feel like it's not. I don't really see it in other countries as much.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't see it because it's not part of it. And the 18%, is that a really high number or not so high number?
I wouldn't say so. Like, well, compared to the others, yes.
Uh-huh.
But out of the 900 million, I don't know. I feel like not.
I don't know. I like that. Keep going. What do you mean you don't know? Yeah, I don't know is the best answer, but I'm going to force you to say. In what ways is it not a high number, and in what ways is it a high number?
I guess it's a high number in, like, trying to manage all of the people who want to come here, but not a high number in, like...
Comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
Because still, it's only 18% of, so you can't go with just the 900,000. Remember, there's 7 billion, 900 million, I mean. There's 7+ billion people who don't want to migrate. Dude, think about that. 7 billion people out of 8 billion people in the world are saying, like, yeah, even if I could choose, even the poorest of the poor, yeah, if I could choose, I still would stay here. Is that surprising?
I don't think... no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I know, right? That's where I'm at. Yes, it's surprising. No, it's not surprising, right? You see, are you getting the stuff here, right? Are you getting this now? Like, yeah, it's all relative. But look, if I'm an American, if I'm in charge of immigration policy in the United States, I look at that 18% and I'm like, yeah, it's still a high number, man. We're still the #1 magnet country, and we better figure out how to deal with this. 'Cause that's a lot of people, man. 18% of 900 million people is a lot of people. Yeah. So it puts a lot of pressure on us. Okay,
I have a question.
Yep.
So I guess in the last 10 years, could you speak to how that number has decreased, and was it higher before for the US?
It's increased.
It's increased, okay.
Yeah, it has increased. In the U.S., it's mostly stayed the same. Yeah, it's mostly stayed the same. In fact, if I had to guess, I would say when Gallup asks this question in another 3 years, it'll go down a little bit because people's expectations will be like, shit, we'll never get in the U.S., so I'm not even going to answer U.S. because they've changed their immigration policy. So I'm going to give you another number. My hopes are going to be set on somewhere else. I live in Peru, and my hopes are going to be to go to Chile or Argentina or something. So that's how I'm going to answer.
Oh, okay, because I was thinking, at least now, it just pegs the question, since other destinations is at 39%, do they believe that America doesn't really offer the opportunities that they're seeking? So I just wanted to know, that's where the...
Well, sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just not realistic. If you're in Botswana, for example, you're just like, and I'm never going to get to the U.S., so I'm going to choose Spain, right? Spain's the closest place, or something like that, right? Algeria, whatever. So probably many more people would choose the U.S., but they know it's not even possible. They're never going to get here. So, and the numbers in Europe have increased tremendously, and in Canada. Here, let me show you another. Can you show the next slide? Take a look at this. These are global immigration paths. Now you can visualize it, right? So, Paige, you said I never thought about it in other countries. Take a look at that. Look at all that really bright yellow happening there around the Middle East and coming out of India and Asia. There's a lot, man. Okay, how's that to see that? What's that tell you?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's so I know that there's a lot of other immigration in other countries, but it's not something that I'm really seeing in the news that much. Because years ago I went to Germany, and the place that we were the area we were in had a lot of immigrants and stuff like that.
But you're not following German policies.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't see it. I don't really know.
Okay, so what this tells me is this is a global issue. Yeah. By the way, look at those lines between Botswana and South Africa, right? So here, look, this is a global issue.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're queen of the world, you're in charge, How are you thinking about this? How about just you're in charge of the United States? How are you thinking about this? It's a global issue, man.
We should probably try to work with other countries to figure something out. I don't know.
Dude, no. Hang on. You just said something really profound. Say it again, but own it. Like really own it.
Work with other countries.
No, start
Figure
with,
out.
if I were the leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I were.
Wait, hang on. Say it right into the camera. And people inside the Beltway, listen to what Paige is saying right here about immigration policy in the U.S. because of what she's seen.
If I were the leader of the United States, I would work with other countries to develop a solution on immigration.
And the reason I would do that is because
It is a global issue, and working with other countries will help.
Keep going.
Will help. I don't know.
Ensure that
Everyone is happy.
we solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everyone's, first off, no, in the world of politics, no one's ever happy.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's the pipe dream. But so that we solve the problem. Dude. Did you hear it? Did you hear that? Very simple. Paige, what year are you?
A sophomore.
Sophomore at Penn State University. Just gave you some wisdom right there. It seems to me that that's it. I mean, this isn't a radical left thing or a radical right wing thing. It is like we are in a global world. We're in this together. When I look at those paths, migration paths, I'm like, oh man, we're never going to solve this by ourselves, man. And we just start putting walls up and stuff. This is so problematic. Yeah. It means you got to talk to other leaders. You got to work with them. You got to do whatever. Okay.
Good.
Awesome.
Oh, thanks.
What'd you learn, by the way?
A lot.
Well, are you more confused?
No.
You're less confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, actually, you would be the one person who would sit up here that would be less confused. Dude, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay, gentlemen. Come on up here, if you don't mind. Go to the next slide. You can sit on the table. Yeah, why not? Sit on the table. By the way, the last two immigration classes, the full class, 20,000 people watched the last two classes on immigration, and they're waiting for your answers, gentlemen. Right? So you can tell us. So what would you do?
Okay, well, so first we needed to figure out what the biggest pain points that people were bringing up were. So I have a list of the ideas we need to solve for.
Are these things that the two of you share, or these are just yours?
We share on most of them, but these are the ideas that we need to solve for.
All right,
so,
hold the mic close.
First, we need to ensure that the birth rate is solved and that we have enough people to ensure that there's a tax base to support elderly, aging Americans, and there's enough people to take care of them in hospitals, and that there is enough overall wealth in the country that they don't end up dying in squalor.
Okay, so hang on. Let me just say the following. That's good. You got to do something with the birth rate.
Yeah.
But you can do all sorts of stuff. We can just give a national income. There are all sorts of things. If we could get computers to run the entire economy, great, run the economy. Just give people a national income and sit home and play chess. But nonetheless, okay, that's good. So you're on to something.
Another thing we heard was we want qualified workers to leverage their advantages into sort of intellectual fields. So we want to continue to get the best of the best from other countries in order to have world-renowned technological industry and ensure that those industries continue to have the required labor in order to stay on top.
Okay, hang on a second, my friends. Anyone have a problem with that? Right? Anyone have an issue with that? Dude, were you paying attention to the inequality graph up there?
Yeah,
Like
but
the U.S., we're so wealthy compared to, you just want us to, so you want us to be more wealthy.
I mean, this is domestic policy, so
All
I
right,
think
okay,
I think
all right.
most people wouldn't complain about being wealthier.
Yeah, except you would complain when more and more of those immigrants start jamming themselves into the United States or
Well-
start a guerrilla war
Well,
inside the United
That's
States.
where the next bullet
All right,
point we got
okay.
was,
All right,
which was we need to protect American workers. So workers that work in the United States need to maintain their wages. They need to maintain their ability to support their families. They need to maintain their ability to stay employed. So we don't want to be sacrificing the ability for American workers to work and have jobs.
Okay, so what you're saying here is you want some kind of a socialist type, neo-socialist. You want to redistribute, you want to make sure that we distribute or redistribute wealth in ways that it's fair for people at the lower end.
I mean, that's what a progressive tax rate is. So
Okay.
largely, I mean, you can put it in many different ways, right? You don't
Okay.
need to call it a socialized policy, but I mean, progressive tax rate is actually inherent to capitalism.
Okay, all right. Yeah, because, I mean, you got that, right? You can only, if the workers don't have any money to buy anything,
You can't-
you know, you can't, your economy's not going to, it's going to get stuck. Okay.
We also need to ensure that product costs are affordable for Americans. So housing is an important issue in the United States. And if we have a whole bunch of new immigrants coming into the United States, well, they can't prevent Americans from being able to afford housing and be able to afford living.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, right. You got to get the immigrants to build houses for American citizens, I guess. Right.
Another thing we heard a lot of was the system needs to get sped up. So currently the system is too slow and that it takes too long for outcomes to happen for legal and illegal immigrants, right? If you're
Okay,
seeking entry to the United States, you need to be able to get a yes or a no much faster.
But understand, what we just saw, remember that number? What was it, 18%?
Yeah, it was
Wanted to come?
162 million.
All right, 162 million. So the sooner you speed that up, the sooner the other people, the 162 million, start applying, submitting their paperwork.
Then you're gonna need a lot of no's.
Okay, all right, hang on though. We got to go to Minh for a sec. Bro, what do you got?
Hello. So I didn't really bullet point it out as close as he did. So
Yeah.
like, my idea is kind of like all over the place. But I share some common points with him about wealth and
Okay.
the system. Basically, we need to not control, but like in a way that for how do I say that? For immigrants to, basically we don't want immigrants to like take over everything. So like
Yeah.
we would want to set up basically for citizen, they should be able to like maintain whatever they are doing, but for immigrants they,
Okay. Hey, by the way, are is your family immigrants?
yes,
They migrated here from where?
Vietnam.
From Vietnam.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a quick question. What do you think your parents would say? What the solution is?
For the immigration issue.
Immigration issue. Yep. Just out of curiosity.
I honestly cannot really answer it out of my head because
Okay. Let me ask you this question. So, what else do you have? What else did you get? What were you hearing that really stood out for you as especially important? How about the humanitarian side? Does that speak to you at all?
as in
Like we gotta help people out, man. Like I was in Vietnam a couple years ago, and Vietnam has gone through like a really serious uptick of development, but still, there's a lot that needs to be done. What do you think about that?
like helping.
Should we be thinking about on humanitarian terms, meaning that we should think about helping people out in places that are really pretty far behind where we are?
Oh, as in like globally?
Yeah,
Like
yep,
other
yep, yep,
countries?
yep.
Yeah. One thing about that, when honestly, the first
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The one I was just here before.
Yep, David.
Yeah. Not him, but
No,
like,
Sebastian.
honestly, I can't remember his name. Sorry about that. But the issue, the things like we should work with like other countries about this global issue of immigration.
Yep.
And that I think like that's a good point. Like we need to basically help other countries to not get rid of like trying to like solve this immigration issue. It's not our like individual country issue, but like more of other countries as well. So like on that terms, we should help the countries, as in like increase trade or like support economically.
Yep. And you know, I mean, President Trump is doing that. He's really shaking up some of the trade routes and stuff. So it's going to be a good thing for some countries and a bad thing for other ones. Do your parents send money back to Vietnam, by the way? Do you know?
They do. Yep, they do.
Yeah. Almost everybody. I mean, people come here and they send money back home. Okay. Do you have? Okay. What do you got? Do you have another? Or does anybody have does anyone have a question for them? By the way. Anyone want to throw a question out? Or do we have a question from the stream? Bro, this guy's got a question over here. Do we have one on the stream, by the way? Hang on, let me see what he's...
Can you hear me?
Yo. Go ahead, bro.
Do you guys have anything about like increasing benefits for marriage or anything like along those lines?
You mean to promote? Yeah,
promote like maybe making it easier for taking care of children, like if you have the status of being married, child care, like you get some sort of subsidy or something.
Yeah.
We were largely focusing on immigration policy, not domestic.
Okay, but in terms of birth rates. But bro, check this out. Next class, make sure you come, because we're going to have a really cool conversation about that very thing in Scandinavia. Okay, we're told people come to America for the American dream. What does the American dream mean to you today? What's it mean to you, bro?
I have 2 friends who are lesbians that live in San Francisco. One of them came from Malaysia. The other one is a Native American. And they both grew up in poverty, and now they're both making a tremendous amount of money as software developers in San Francisco. So their story of coming from a place of making almost nothing to now being able to afford to live together, to me, that's what the American dream looks like.
Oh, that's cool. And they're able to express their own beingness.
Yeah, they're able to be who they want to be.
Yeah, or who they are also. Yep. Yeah, bro.
What's your view on immigrants currently in the country?
Yeah, what do you do with immigrants in the country, man? You didn't talk about that.
That was part of the implementation side of things. But for immigrants currently in the country, there's a couple of different ways to go about doing that. The first group of people I wanted to focus on were people who were brought here as children. I think that if you were brought here as a child, you have almost no connections back to where you grew up. You essentially are stranded in the United States, and that those people we need to take care of and ensure that they have the ability to become citizens.
Okay.
The rest of people living in the United States illegally, the sort of current system of don't get caught is a system that I don't think we would have any political leverage to change.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. All right. Do you have anything to add to what to do with people who are here without documentation? Illegally.
Illegally. Personally, I would say what we are doing right now. Like basically, we won't...
Finding people.
Yeah.
And sending them back home.
Yeah.
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 So
I would go with that.
You would go with that?
Yeah, because personally, I don't think like living here illegally would be like a good idea, both for them as well as for us.
Okay.
And like majority of them, I know like they...
Wait. Yo. Go ahead.
Yeah, majority of them, I know they are here they're illegal, not because they want to, mostly because of like other issues like war or like refugee and stuff. So on that terms, I also want to like push the like the process of getting a green card.
Yeah. Okay. If you're here, if you're already here somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other side is if you've leveraged a lot of your life to gather together the money to come to the U.S. illegally. And the U.S. government is telling people, hey, you need to leave. If you haven't paid that debt back, man, you are not going to just be like, all right, I'll leave. Like, you got to pay the debt back, man. Can you just say it? You'll have to say it really fast, man.
Quick hits. Yeah, so immigration also has power structures embedded in it. So people who come here usually are wealthier, off, or smarter.
Yeah.
I think that something to be considered about people who just come to America because they're not bringing, say, higher skill, or they're trying to come here with their family. They're just really rich and they want to come to a rich place in America and buy a condo or a house.
Dude, there's a lot of people coming here who it's not an issue for them because they have money, so they can get the documentation. All right, gentlemen, thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks, man. Nice job. Nice job. Okay. All right, y'all. Hey, listen, those of you who are part of THON, it's not just dancers, it's everybody. Good luck, man. Have a great weekend.